It was a man who devoted his career to exploring the vast woods of Northern California. He worked as his town's environmental service director, so it was quite literally his job to spend time in the woods. In February of 2018, he had been tasked with marking trees, and while he was doing so deep in the woods, he would come across some makeshift cabin, which, considering the extreme remoteness of the area he was in, made the discovery highly abnormal. Mark would of course get a closer look at the structure. The thing was only around 8 by 12 feet wide and 15 feet tall. There was a lock on the shack's only entrance, and from the outside there was no real evidence anyone was there. Still, disturbed by the finding, Mark would head back to get professional assistance. The next few days would consist of multiple attempts to contact the owner of the shack, but all of them ultimately failing. So, finally, upon revisiting the structure, the men would break open the lock to the front door. They would find a space that was clearly being lived in, or at the very least had been lived in recently. The shack had its own furniture, a pot-bellied stove, a small library, and even a typewriter. Jars and cans of food filled the shelves. However, in spite of all this, the search resulted in no further identification of the actual owner. Because the shack was illegally constructed, the men ultimately had no other choice but to leave an eviction notice on the front door before leaving. A few days later, the authorities returned to see out the contract, but there was nothing there. The makeshift cabin was completely gone. Whoever the owner was had deconstructed it, with literally the only thing left behind being an international squatter symbol made from charcoal. Many theorized the owner was wanted by authorities, and was therefore living completely alone in the forest, evading any contact with other people. But whether or not this is even close to true is still up for debate. To this day, the real owner of the shack is still unidentified.